Welcome back. I'm Mountain Jace. Hopefully you've all had a chance to watch the first episodes in this expedition to your peak fitness. For those that haven't yet, let me quickly do a 360 of where we currently are. But before I do, here's my money back guarantee to you. You'll hear things on this channel that you won't find anywhere else, and that they will be immediately actionable, make a profound difference to the gains you get, and will not only deliver tangible physical benefits, but also build your personal sense of self-esteem along the way. Oh, and I promise not to browbeat you by using too many fancy Latin names for the various parts of the body. This ain't no dive into the crusty world of academic textbooks. It's a real-world climb up real-world challenges to deliver real-world results. So, we're now at the starting line of our climb to new fitness heights. You're aware, as explained in episode 2, that all that matters to a muscle is relative weight. That is, the amount of force that is held in the fibres of one isolated muscle, rather than that which is sent groundwards through your bones or passed over to an array of nearby muscles. Your reward will be tied solely to this amount. Equally, you know that the aim is to illuminate as many lights for as long as possible on the stairway to heavenly gains, both on the positive and negative parts of the movement. The whole of video 3 introduced this vitally important concept, which you ignore at your peril. You also know that to generate deep 3D performance enhancements, you have to begin the next set while the fibres torn in the last are still out of action, which forces the body to call up a new battalion of reserve soldiers, as explained in video 4. If you let the gaps between each set get too long, the body will engage only the first layer of fibres again and again and again, thus creating no net increase in your future Build Back Better matrix. So, though you may do 4 sets in total, as far as your brain is concerned, you only get paid for doing 1. All the rest amount to a waste of your time, and it's worth reminding ourselves what I said right at the beginning of this journey together. That is, the reason I felt compelled to share my fitness evolution with others is because every day I see 9 out of 10 people failing miserably in the way they train, and compounding this loss in potential gains by then spending 5 minutes on their phones in between sets. This is the reason why I am sadly confident in my calculation that most people in truth walk away from a machine having only nailed down 10 to 20% of what is required to force the body to grow back muscles stronger and fitter. Remember, you're not in a prison work detail charged with moving rocks from point A to point B. Weight training is a means to an end, and that end is to incite sufficient muscle damage that then requires the body to repair and strengthen it to fight and win another day. That's it. It actually is rock science. Anyway, time is precious, so let's jump straight in. Like instruments in an orchestra, we have to combine all the above in a way that creates a symphony of success. So here's the next crucial element to take on board. And it might be a controversial one, but only with those that are inexorably locked in the past. There's no other way to say it, but you're wasting your time doing warm-up sets. That's a thing people do because they simply have no idea how the body and gym training works. Since our days on the African savanna, we've had to be on high alert to either run or fight for our lives. Our bodies have evolved to respond to this exigency. A Neanderthal never grunted at a hunting saber-toothed tiger, "Can you give me a few minutes before you pounce? I just need some very light, jerky warm-ups before I try to make good my escape. So, unless you literally just got out of bed, going into the gym, training into your rich piano gear, etc., is enough warm-up for everyone. Top-ranked athletes who starve their bodies to the precipice of exhaustion whilst pushing their muscles to the absolute limit and do so every day of the year gain from warming up and down. But for the rest of us mere mortals who squeeze in a gym sesh 3 to 4 times a week, it's a total waste of what could have been productive muscle building time. After all, we all live busy lives and we make trade-offs in terms of seeing friends, doing household chores, staying late at work, etc. all the time. The name of the game when it comes to then sculpting a wonderfully functional physique is to get the most return from the least amount of time, but not effort. In no universe does 2 and 2 add to 5. So, just doing away with this relic of gym BS will not only free you up to train additional muscle groups each visit, but more importantly still, it'll help focus with Jedi-like intent your mind and body to train in a way that cuts out all the fluff and takes you straight to where you need to be. The 3 B's, breaking and building better muscles. As an aside, gym injuries don't come from training cold. Your body is at a comfortable 37 degrees Celsius to start with. No, they happen when people use weights that are far too heavy for one of their muscles to contain on its own. And as such, as mentioned in my second episode, the body, desperate to do the most with the least amount of effort, sends the overflow into joints, bones, tendons, and neighboring muscles. It's at these bottlenecks that stuff goes wrong, and doing a crappily executed series of warm-up jerks does nothing to avoid this fate. So, what's next? You know the part of body that you're going to hit and which machine you're going to use to achieve this task. As discussed, there's no need to do anything other than jump straight in. The first thing you have to do is choose your optimal weight, and it's actually the most important bit of your workout. Indeed, it's at this point that the die is cast as to whether you actually succeed or fail. Let me define optimal. It's the amount that a single muscle or closely grouped set of muscles, be it a bicep, tricep, chest, or leg muscle, etc., can execute between 7 to 10 repetitions of potentially 50 illuminated staircase lights before the pain of exertion takes over, or before you start to incorporate mass displacement, which just means throwing your body around in a seesawing action, more on this later, or muscle sharing in order to make the bar move. I see many people, especially guys, actually commence their set in this cheat mode. For most people who want to evolve into a more advanced way of training, I would suggest that your optimal weight lies somewhere between 30 and 40% below the amount you are currently using. As I say, get greedy with this selection and you will be guilty of throwing away any hope of fitness success and wasting gym membership fees and costly leisure time. Have the courage to downsize to get fitter and stronger. The only thing that concerns our brain is the relative weight that hits the muscle and for how long. That's the number used to calculate the rewards you'll get once all the repair work is completed. If you think you can follow my fitness evolution protocol without halving your weights, then you never really wanted to get to the mountain peak in the first place. You just wanted to appear as though you were doing so. So, after experimenting for a few weeks to settle on your optimal weight, which will obviously change as you complete each set, you're ready to start training. I say obviously that your optimal weight isn't some static number, but one that changes with each progressive set, but patently it's not to perhaps 90% of the people at my gym and perhaps yours too. And I'll tell you exactly why this must be so in the next video. But before I go, I want you to look out for something when you next work out. Indeed, you may be doing it yourself. See how many people do 4 or 5, perhaps even 6 sets on a particular piece of equipment, and look out also for what weight they use on the last set compared to the first. And then think about why it could be, as with all I've highlighted in this series, they are doing the exact opposite of what someone should be doing if they really were training to the evolutionary max, rather than just repeatedly cheating themselves out of their own brighter future. Anyway, before then, might I ask if you have found the contents of this one to be a revelation in your goal to reach your absolute heights in fitness potential, then please return the kindness and hit the like and subscribe icons. That way, together, we'll become a team strong enough to reach any of life's mountain peaks. Until then, see you on the next stage of Mountain Jace's climb to peak fitness. Thank you.